So we are now rolling the DBMS modules, which was a Infosys certification program. That too, we will now take up the DBMS part. So morning in our prayer discussion, we had to know about the SQL commands. Then we came across the operators and all. Then we started up with the DDL commands. Then we were talking about not null constraint and default and primary and check. So now let us continue this session from the unique constraint. So constraints, as mentioned, they will be of default, primary, check, unique, foreign key, and their usage towards compositeness, etc. So uh, it's just taking time to refresh. So once it refreshed, we'll be getting the connection. So we are working on SQL basics, etc. And then we talked about this primary key and all. Then we had the check constraint. We completed it. So yeah, let us start. So now we do have this unique constraint. So unique, what exactly was that? The column, it is going to be a column constraint, and it ensures that two rows in a table cannot have the same value in a column. So if my register number is 565 and another girl's or another person's number cannot be 565. So in the same column, the occurrence of a value should be 1. So that is where the uniqueness will point out. So it will allow null, but the thing was it allows only once. So now how we are looking forward for a unique constraint was we will create a table. The name of a table was student and with an identifier and first name and contact number. And what was the constraint was that no two students shall have the same phone number. So that was the constraint, and therefore we are going to call here as a unique. So unique, we are going to impose it with a constraint, and the name of a constraint we are going to call it as student constraint unique key. So when we hit on the run button, now you can see this table was created, and for the contact number there was a unique constraint which was attached. So now let us verify how the unique is going to take up. So suppose if we are going to have a valid record, so it is 1001 Alex and his number was given. So obviously it is going to take up the entry. Okay, fine. But let us look into a duplicate or a record. So now if I am going to hit on this query, assume that the same mobile number. Earlier we have a mobile number of 4455, and the same mobile number we are now giving it back. So that is not going to be accepted. So that is the reason why the contact is going to be found and the violation happened. Next comes the null record. Okay, so just see what happens if null is going to take up. So the insert becomes null if it is going to allowed by a unique constraint. So after unique, we do have the next process of looking into it. So the next process was that we need to look or work why we need to have a foreign key here. So when we are going to take it this elements as a foreign key, now let us see the student ID, first name and contacts. So we make a table here and then we make a course ID, student ID and mark score. Of course, so this table was created. Now we are creating a new table here. So table was created with course ID, student name and marks created. Okay, fine. Now we do have this table called as a marks, and let us see what happens if this query is going to be executed with student ID and constraint. Now we are going to create a foreign key. So how we are going to create a foreign key was we are now taking the old table and now calling up the marks with the student table, calling up the marks with the student table. So just now we have created the marks table and earlier we do have the student table. So now we need to link both of them. So how we are going to link means we are going to link it with the student ID. So that's how we are going to provoke the usage of a foreign key. So the table was created with course ID, number, marks code, and student ID is common in both the tables. Yeah. Now next was that let us see, we need to have a composition of a primary key. Then there are cases where primary key need not be looking up for a single column. It can be a composite way because for the entire tuple, the uniqueness is not going to happen. So obviously, the primary key will not be based on a single key, but it can on a single attribute. It is going to take up the multiple attributes. So there is one more constraint in this model. So now we are going to have this table with marks and yeah, first one we are going to have course ID, which it is going to belong to a primary key. Next one, we have already created a temporary variable that is student ID, and this it is going to refer as a foreign key to the student ID database. So this is how now we, instead of student ID, now we are going to take up the course ID as a primary key. Fine. So course ID, we have done it as a primary key. Still it is not yet over. So now here is the scenario how we have created this composite primary key. So the student table has already been created and inserted with a few records. Now we are going to say let us create a table called as a marks, which is going to store the marks created by marks scored by each student in the course. So how we are going to do it? We are going to take up the course ID with an integer, then student ID we made it an integer, and it is going to be treated as a condition, as a constraint, and it should behave like a foreign key, and the name of a foreign key was marks underscore sid underscore fk foreign key, and it is going to refer to the student with some student ID. So followed by the marks code, we are going to have some digital with the decimal of 5 comma 2. So one, it is a fraction part, one it is an integer part, and two it is going to be the fraction part. So out of 5, 2 positions are given as the fraction part, and then the scale part what we call, and the general decimal part it is given as 3. So this is how we create a table here, and now we are going to have marks underscore cid underscore pk, the name of a constraint, which it is having the composition of what it is going to have? It is going to have the course ID which is taken from a previous table, and thereby it is going to have a student ID which it is going to take it as a foreign key from another table. So by these two, then a uniqueness is going to be happen, and that one we are going to run the scenario. So that's the reason why course ID is nil and student ID is also going to be nil. So this is error part we won't look up right now. So let us holistically look with an example which it is going to talk about the number of constraints which are applicable on a table. So for instance, if we are going to take up a student table and student ID, name, last name, gender, date of joining, uh, contact number, personal ID, and constraint is going to be taken up. Um, now here you can see here student ID, it is belonging to a constraint and that it is obeying as a primary key. Then first name, again we are assuming it should be something, it should not be empty. So we are going to call here as a not null. And last name, yeah, again it is with filling up some data. So we are going to say it is not null. Gender, we are going to give a check constraint, and that check constraint should fulfill either it is a male or either it is a female. So that has to be noted down, and thereby we are going to have date of joining, and date of joining we are going to provoke this as date, and it gives us the system date. And contact number, yeah, it is going to be taken it with a unique value, that is not null can be there, but so null can be there. So and next one was the personal ID. So personal ID, so again it is taken up with some integer value, and it is going to be a reference key which is taken from the primary so of the person ID. And similarly we are going to take up the student table. So in student table, yeah, we are going to take up the student ID, first name, last name, gender, date of joining, contact numbers, and personal ID. So all of them we are going to define, but first name we are going to include it with constraints and with some not null. Last name, it is going to take up with a varchar2, and it is going to be pointed out to some not null. And we have some constraints here. So constraint name, student SID primary key, student underscore general constraint key, student underscore name constraint key, and student underscore uh, PID, the underscore uh, foreign key. So we have personal ID. So uh, all these we are now holistically representing the things with the constraints. So we talked about not null, we talked about unique, we talked about primary key, we talked about the secondary key, that is the foreign key. So all these elements, they are now replicated in various forms, in various methods in these two tables. So that was the key takeaway of bringing up this slide. So right now we are not looking it into the exercises. So I was just moving up. Next one. Let us see how this alter commands, etc., they are going to be taken up. So why we are going to use an alter table? Because assume we have a schema, and that schema is going to have a 4 attributes. Now all of a sudden you want to add one more attribute. So it will be very difficult for the DBMS to directly mention it. So for that we are going to take up an alter table, and alter it modifies the table and give up the table as one of a substituting column. So what this alter table is going to do means it is going to modify the structure of each existing table. So that was the main way of putting the things called as an alter table content. And yeah, here you can see student structure with ID, name, gender, date of joining, date of job, and the mobile number, which is given as number. And then we are going to have the student table with all these attributes. So alter table drop DOB. So now again we have dropped one uh, date of birth, and again if I am going to drop it, then an error is going to occur. And similarly, drop two columns again. We will run on this and we will see whether the gender and name are also going to be there. So again, you can see this, we are now dropping the gender and mobile number, and table was altered. So if at all, if we want to look into this, whether the alter happened or not, let us check this content and see how it is going to work. So it is student there. So it's not accepting the things, direct things. Okay. So let us see the syntax of the alter table here. So as far as syntax of alter table is going to be concerned, so we have these entities, that is we can add a column, we can modify a column, we can rename a column, we can drop a column. Similarly, we can add a constraint to a primary key, nor we can remove a constraint from the table. So what will be the different operations for an alter table was that via an alter table, we can modify the schema of the database. Even we can modify the address from 20 to 50, or we can rename the column, whatever column we need. So on that name, we can rename. Similarly, if we don't need the column, so we can drop it. And similarly, if any constraints are needed over the table, so those constraints are going to be activated, and that it is going to be taken up with add constraint content. The next one, it is looking with exercise number 4. Quizzes are also related to it, and ways they are going to be again related to these items. Yeah. So next comes new topic here.